Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacqueline. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacqueline at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. Welcome to our existing viewers and listeners, and to anybody who is new to our platform, a huge welcome to you. My name's Jenetta Barry, and our show today is part of the Talking Heads group of shows where experts speak with some incredibly insightful ideas and thoughts that really I suggest you don't miss. Have a look at our Talking Heads side to the USA Global TV and Radio website. And today, the reason why I'm on Talking Heads is that I'm an expert presenter on today's topic, which is about embracing uncertainty. And the only thing, and I say this so often to my clients when they're going, I don't know if I can take what's going on at the moment. Our whole world has been turned completely upside down. COVID has really made the new world so different to what we've been used to for years and years and years. And that uncertainty is so unsettling and leaves us in that space where our health gets affected with things like sleep and not eating or overeating, or there are many coping mechanisms and non-coping mechanisms that kick in when our whole world does turn upside down. And I always say to people that the only thing that's certain in life is change. That's the only thing that's guaranteed. And to quote John Allen Paulos, he goes, "Uncertainty is the only certainty there is, and knowing how to live with insecurity is the only security." And that is the essence of it. And, a lot of people say to me, but wow, Jenetta, you have been through so much in life. I've been through 2 marriages and suffered health-wise. I had cancer 23 odd years ago, and a child died on me through suicide, and many, many, many other things that's happened. And they go, how do you manage that? And not that I'm advocating that should happen to everybody. It's quite a lot to handle in one life. One of the things that I have noticed is that the more attached I was to making life perfectly happy and perfectly peaceful and perfectly all right, the more life seemed to blindside me. So what I'm going to work with you today on is learning what it is that you're possibly running inside you. I do this regularly where I sit back and go, so what am I running in terms of what I think ought to be and should be and has to be and must be and needs to be? And it's the needs to be that's the big one. Some of you might know Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And that goes in rather like it is a pyramid of needs. And you start off at the bottom of the pyramid, which is the base of what life is about for you. And it's this physiological need. So we definitely all need air. And in fact, it's something I wanted to talk about now, is understanding the value of that air. Because we sort of go, okay, the other needs are water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, and reproduction. And they're very vital too. But when I start asking my clients, okay, so what do you think gives you your most strength and energy in terms of refueling yourself? So people will say, it's sleep. I have to have sleep to refuel. I have to have food and water and shelter and clothing. And so my question for you here is, if you didn't sleep, how long would it take you to die? And I haven't seen on anybody's epitaph died from a lack of sleep. Complications from a lack of sleep, maybe, but not directly from a lack of sleep. So lack of sleep is not going to directly kill you, and it isn't as vital in this moment. Okay, so then they'll say to me, it's food. Okay, how long does it take for one to die if you don't have food? Well, it's actually approximately a month. How long does it take to die if you don't have food and water? No water. It's a few days. So everybody thinks that's it. But in actual fact, it's air. How long does it take for you to die if you can't breathe? And it's minutes. So our most vital source of intake and security and our most vital need is to be able to breathe, because if we stop breathing, we're gone. So air is actually on the top of that list of needs that base our triangle of needs, our hierarchy of needs. The next one up on that triangle is the safety needs, our personal security, our employment, our resources, our health, our property. And I would say that probably our health is the very big one on that, because if you're not healthy, there's very little you can do in your employment or your resources, because they start dwindling if you haven't got the health and the strength to move forward. Then the next one on that hierarchy of needs is love and belonging. There's friendship, there's intimacy, family, sense of connection. I know that's a very big one for me. My circle of friends are so important to me alongside my family. To me, that's the most important one after my first two hierarchy of needs have been met. And then the next one is up that triangle is esteem, respect, self-esteem, status recognition, strength, freedom. I'm often referred to as a free spirit, because the moment I feel I'm being hemmed in, I'm flighty and gone. That's when I'm in a place of not being able to manage all these needs. So that's another one that's up there. And of course, the top of that pyramid is self-actualization, the desire to become the most one can be. That's that legacy I talk about with what I do with my work and with my charity work, is having a legacy that's bigger than me and will carry on long after I draw that last breath of air that's so vital. That's self-actualization. I believe each one of us want to know, what is our purpose in life and what's the impact that we want to leave, whether it's the impact to ourselves or to others close to us or to the world at large. Each of us has different needs within that. What is most important to us? And what I've noticed in working with people with the Epiphany process, that I've helped people all over the world from all walks of life with all different backgrounds. What I have found, that there are two ways of embracing certainty that they work with. One comes from a place of fear. So if they're very fearful people, they'll try the first one. The other one is where they're in a set of circumstances that doesn't feel too great for them. So they go into that place of fantasy to escape from whatever they're doing. And those are the two ways of embracing certainty I've seen again and again come up the most when I'm dealing with people. So let's look at the first one, trying to guarantee life with checks and rules. Because life can be nightmarish and scary. So by way of example, having rights to give us that sense of certainty. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying having rights is wrong, because those are very, very valuable support systems and bringing rights into our way of living certainly helps to put those parameters and checks into our system of living. They're really very helpful. And how they impact when we have them, when we get overly attached to them, is what I'm talking about today, where we go to that vitriolic place of we have the right to be what it is, what we want to be and when we want to be, and when they remain the guidelines that need to be looked at when they're consistently overlooked. So we go, our rights are not being given to us, the right to be this and the right to be that. And when that happens, it means we're more attached to those rights, saving us, protecting us, than understanding that we can create that protection and understanding, and the rights back us up rather than the other way around. Because the moment we're dealing with something or someone outside of ourselves, guaranteeing that life is certain, we become disempowered. That's where often a country that has a dictator sits, because we left all our power to somebody else to guarantee that we are safe and secure. And so it's about using what's outside of ourselves as a powerful backup and skill, but creating that safety and that certainty from within us. So that's the one way a lot of people come from. And sometimes, let me show you the second way, because sometimes we go between the two. So the second way of trying to embrace certainty is from wishing life was different. That fantasy escape, fantasy in what needs are not being met, right? So I'm here and this is not working and it's not happening. But if I had this and this and that, this, and if I was able to do this, and then that's, if I have all these things, if I had, maybe it's a better car, maybe it's a better relationship, maybe it's a better house, maybe it's a better country. If I was in this country, or I had these friends, or that relationship, it's that fantasy side. If I had all that, then that's what will help me feel that, and that. Then I'll feel protected. Then I'll feel endorsed. Then I'll feel safe. So it's not going into, I have to bring in rules to feel safe. It's going again outside of ourselves. Something outside of ourselves will rescue us or endorse us or help us to feel better. And then life will be okay. So the first one is a nightmare place, and this one is a fantasy place. When we don't work out what wouldn't work in those two dreamed of scenarios, or those the dreamed of scenario and the rules scenario, when we don't work out what won't happen, then when things do become challenging, then the new scenario can turn into feeling like a nightmare. So what we're going to do today is start putting together what it is that makes you feel most uncertain. It could be the rising cost of living, the house over your head, the social acceptance interaction, feeling trapped in the scenario you're in, your health, whatever it is that you're feeling. Get a pen and paper now and list. This is what I'm feeling most uncertain about. Go through that list. So maybe the uncertainty is that you don't feel protected enough, or it could be your health, whatever it is you choose. When you've got the actual thing that's bothering you the most out of that list, you might even want to choose the top 3, list them, and then out of those top 3, choose the one that you go, that's the one. So you can now start pinpointing which of those is bothering you the most. When you get to that top one, then you're going to ask yourself a different question, because it's so easy to go, if that need was met, I would feel more certain. So I need this to happen, and I feel so frightened when it doesn't, or I feel so uncertain, I feel scared, I feel whatever it is. Instead of instead of running the story of what it should be, go into what it is specifically that you feel is missing. I feel if I had my health, I would be able to do this, that, and the other. If I had this particular house over my head, I'd be able to do this, that, and the other. So write it out in one sentence. Don't go into a long story. And then go into, if I had the house over my head, I would feel more certain to have friends over, or more certain to work from home, or I'd feel that there's a whole list again. Go into the one that is the most important to you. So maybe the house over the head would give me prestige. I remember, to give you an example, because I like to give examples, my father, I think, from all his work in the music industry, was very close to getting a knighthood from the Queen. And I remember my mum saying, we do not have the house to have the British High Commissioner to come and join, to come to tea, because he'd asked to come over for tea. And we don't have the tea service. And I remember thinking at the time, I was quite young, probably about 11, but that's not what it's about. But for her, it was. So her thing of not being able to provide what she perceived was necessary to manifest what it was that would have given my father a knighthood actually shut it all down. And my father was never knighted. And so this is where we sit into that place of certainty. She was certain that if we'd had the better house and that tea service, then it would happen. And she was certain that if he came over without those checks and things in place, she was certain it wouldn't happen. So either way, it wasn't going to happen with my mum. And that's what you're going to look at now, is what is it that you think it will certainly give you? And then look at what it leaves you feeling. If it gave me that, it would help me feel, let's go to my mum. If she'd had the house and the tea service, what would it have left a feeling? A feeling of prestige, a feeling of accomplishment, a feeling that she could, with a surety, talk to the British High Commissioner and his wife in a way that she wouldn't be judged or unaccepted. And so you'd get to that actual feeling, oh, it would give me prestige and a feeling that I qualified. So then you would ask yourself, if that's, you'd eventually get to it, what is it, where is it that I'm already feeling that sense of prestige, but in a different form? So for my mother, she was a top teacher of a top secretarial college that had over 400, she was the principal and owner, 400 students in it. And she was the top examination center for East Africa for Pitmans, which was the secretarial training method in the world at that time. So if she could have sat with the higher commissioner going, I have prestige already, and they know it, her conversation, her manner, and her energy would have shown them that, wow, this is a powerful couple. It doesn't matter that the house isn't a 4-storied mansion, which is what she was running. We had a beautiful house. It was small on a coffee estate. You can't get better than that. But for her, it was not adequate enough. So when you can start saying, where am I already either experiencing or portraying or both those in a different form? Where is it already present? Where I'm perceiving it's absent at the moment. So you start seeing where you're portraying whatever it is you believe what you should have in your life is giving you. And when you can do that, you start saying, wow, it's not missing, it's just in a different form. And then the next question you would ask yourself is, if I had what it is I perceived I needed to have, whether it's the rules and regulations, those checks and whistles, to make sure that everything is in place. If I had that, or if I had what I believe I needed to have to be where I am to give me that certainty, what wouldn't work? What would not work? Well, a lot of people go, well, if I was a billionaire, I'd be able to do this, that, and the other. Let's give that an example. I need far, far, far more money. Well, I've worked with a lot of people with a lot of money. And one of the things that comes up with people who have not a lot of money is, oh, it'll stop me being so fearful. I'll be able to relax and enjoy life because I'm not scared about where I'm going to pay the next bill. I need that certainty that money gives me. Well, as I say, I've worked with many people who have the certainty of money. Guess where this uncertainty comes in? That their friendships are being friends because they have money and are not certainly friends. Or that it as much as not having money is scary, having a lot is just as scary that you might lose it. I can't tell you how many people I've worked with who've gone, I'm so darn scared I'll lose all this money, or I'm so scared that the people around me are yes people because I have that money. I don't know who to trust. I'm not certain about my friendships, and I'm not certain about my money. So it's being able to go, what wouldn't work if you brought in what you thought would give you certainty? Because you can run what will certainly work. And this is not saying that what certainly works wouldn't work, because it will. But it's now bringing in that counter list. What wouldn't work if you brought in what you felt needed to come in to bring in certainty? If you need a bit of help with this, because it's quite key, please feel free to reach out with me, because when my clients have worked this through with me, the aha moment, that epiphany moment where they go, ah, and they have that enlightened moment, they go, oh my word, I get it. Whether I have it or whether I don't have it isn't the certainty. The certainty is being able to take whether I don't have it and whether I do have it together and go, what's it helping to happen? It could push you to reach out and approach somebody new. It could push you to be more creative by not having it in your life. What's it pushing you to be and to become? I often talk about this. Artists say their greatest pieces and works of art come when their life is most challenging and uncertain. So they come into this certainty of creativity because of uncertainty, because you cannot separate the two. Certainty and uncertainty are part of the same cycle. And whilst we attach ourselves to certainty as being the way we need to be, and to get rid of uncertainty, uncertainty is going to come in more and more into our lives to show us its value. So when we're in uncertainty, it pushes us to make things more certain. And then when we get overly attached to the certainty, then uncertainty comes in again to show us its value, to help us to move over to make things more certain. It's a cycle. They're not separate from each other. So you're going to start listing what your uncertainty is doing to serve you. What's it pushing you to believe in and to have more faith in, either in yourself or outside of yourself? What's it pushing you to do mentally? What mental skills is it pushing you to employ that you've either never employed before, or now it's pushing you to find home? So it's giving you finer, sharper mental skills. What's it pushing you to do physically, that uncertainty? Start listing, and you start saying, oh yes, it's pushing me to sleep more, or read more, or draw more, or walk more, or exercise more, or go and do something more physically. It's amazing how when I start working with people, oh yeah, I'm doing that more. I didn't realize that, because we're so focused on what isn't working that we're not seeing what is. What's it pushing you to do with your family that if you had certainty, you'd become complacent about? Are you talking more with them? Are you interacting, doing more with them to get that certainty of being with family? Is it pushing you to get family certainty or social certainty? Or is it pushing you to do new things with your money that you've never done before? That uncertainty pushing you to either save more or spend more. It always brings a new form of dealing with money that gives you, eventually, will give you more certainty. And what's it pushing you to do with your work or your purpose? Saying, I've got to become more clear and certain with this because it's so uncertain. I'm going to get more clear and certain. When you start listing that, you'll never look back, because every time uncertainty comes in my life, and let me tell you, I've been working this process for 14, 15 years. It doesn't guarantee certainty with me because I have this process. It helps me to take certainty and uncertainty when it goes into its extreme, and it does with me. It's not that it's about getting rid of extremes. It's about understanding the value of the extremes and then bringing them into manageability so that certainty and uncertainty start complementing each other as much as they're opposing at the same time. Then you can become very clear and certain and specific. And then you understand that whatever's happening, you can manage it from a place of deep insight rather than being buffeted from uncertainty to certainty, going backwards and forwards, and life feels awful. If you'd like to know a little bit more about how to do this really skillfully so that you become more certain in your uncertainty of dealing with this, I would love to invite you to contact me, reach out to me. I'm available on WhatsApp, which is +44. I'm in UK, 777-423-0464. You can get hold of me there, or at Jenetta at theepiphanyprocess.com. And there I can really skillfully give you the skills that will help you to bring uncertainty and certainty into powerful management instead of them controlling you. If you'd like a piece of that, it's where I was 14, 15 years ago. It would be an honor and pleasure to help you with it. And I want to thank you for being with me today. It's always such a pleasure to share these skills and tips with you and to expand them with you in the future. I want to also ask you to please do subscribe to this amazing platform. We have our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV. You can go there, and there you'll find many programs, many cross sections of programs, and you can find all these Talking Head episodes there under the playlist titled Talking Heads 2022. You can also find the Talking Heads episodes and who presents them on our website, the usaglobaltv.com website. And again, please do reach out to me if I may be of service, as I send you lots of love for this week. Bye.